Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Good Vibes Show with me Vivek Atray, and today I have two good friends, Chitranjan Agarwal and Hardeep Chandpuri. Hi guys, how are you?
Hello. Hi, excellent. You tell us, how are you doing?
Very well, and great to have you on the show. How does it feel to be on the Good Vibes Show?
Well, we are getting some great vibes, and I hope and pray they spread even more.
Yes.
Absolutely, it's fantastic to be here and talking to you, Vivek.
Thank you, Chadi. So we'll start from early years. Where did Hardeep Chandpuri pick up his love for radio and music?
It was a long time ago when I was in school. A tape came from America by chance with somebody, and I got hold of that. And when I heard it, I was simply bowled over. I thought, it's something you get paid to listen to music and to talk. There's no other profession that pays you to say कि आप सारा दिन बस गाने गा सुनो और सिर्फ बोलते रहो. And there were ads in there was music, there was the traffic, there was the weather, and such great information. So that was, I guess, my first initiation towards radio. It was the Billboard Top 100 songs of, I guess it was in the early 90s or something. And it was hosted by the greatest of the great, Mr. Casey Kasem. So that was my first.
Super, and you became such a famous name in radio. You're such a music buff. You're a publisher from such an illustrious family as well. Fantastic, Hardeep. But we go to Chatty now. So Chatty, what about your radio craze, music craze? How did this start? I mean, were books your first love or was radio your first love?
I think my dad bought his first transistor for the family when I was 4 months old. And that used to be in my cot all the time, and as a baby. And then while growing up, fortunately Chandigarh had no television. And we were always listening to the radio. It was my companion. Being a single child, it was my first friend. And of course, books came along with that. So I tuned into Akashvani, listening to sports commentary, all things, the World Cup 1983 win I heard on the radio, the 1980 Olympic gold that India won, I heard it on the radio. So all these things were always, the radio was always there. And it just went away for a few years because, radio wasn't that great for the last 20 years because it's become too commercial, but now we're getting some good radio stations back in town. 90.8 Capital FM is one of them. So yes, life is back to being normal.
Yeah, so radio transistors you spoke of, the smaller the better at that time. And we used to have earphone wires with them like we have now. And I remember smuggling one to the school classroom and listening to the commentary with the wire going into my sleeve with the blazer and the transistor was in my pocket. And I'm sitting like this and looking at the teacher and listening to the commentary of Sushil Doshi or Anand Setalwad. Yeah. Do you remember anything, such thing, Hardeep, or anything else like that?
We've done all this, we've grown up on listening to commentary on radio, especially for hockey and cricket at least,
Yeah.
Remember waking up at 3:55 in the morning to listen to the commentary of the matches being held abroad. Then again 83, I don't remember the final match. I remember when versus Zimbabwe when we were 5 or 6 down. I lost all hope. I switched off the radio. That is what I remember. Then again listening to Amin Sayani, and that's what I remember his last few shows. And that's basically what it was. And then it was a huge lull. And then I went abroad, learned radio there also. And in the meantime, they say, that opportunity knocks at the door. In my case, I had to go to the market, buy the wood, carve a door, place it in place, move from the other side, knock it, and open it up from the other side.
And we have a radio here, which is from your family, and we want to talk about this. And of course, you are the son of Brigadier Chandpuri, and what could be more, we are so proud. So tell me about this radio.
Well, my father was posted with the United Nations in Gaza, and from there he travelled all over Europe. So he picked up this radio set from, I think, Holland. He picked it up, and this has been very dear to us, and so dear that we have not even used it even once. It's in mint condition, and there's another one that we use. It's a white-colored Philips model that is also lying there. So I've got in total close to a collection of 14 vintage radios, and we have a old spool player also. For the new ones, it's the spools were the bigger version of the reels on a cassette tape. So that is there. I've got a gramophone. So these are things that I collect, and I love this. It's got fond memories of my respected father, and so that's why we try and keep it so close to us.
I can see the spark in your eye when you talk about radio, and Chatty as well. Chitranjan we call Chatty, by the way. So Chatty, this love for radio vis-a-vis TV, and talk about sports, music. What does radio mean to you?
Radio is life. Radio is something that gives you information, it gives you news, it can relay sports, it plays music. In the remotest of areas, you don't need electricity, it can work on a battery. So there are so many options that radio gives which other media may or may not give. But in today's world, well, media is very different. But when we were growing up, listening to medium wave, short wave, all these, life was very different. The music quality was very different.
The fine tuning.
Yes, absolutely. Trying to move the dial and try and catch a radio station, whether it was Voice of America or Radio Russia, whatever was working at that point, Radio Moscow, at that point in time. Wherever music was there, we would listen in, and BBC, of course, was there as we grew, in the late 70s and early 80s. So that it was a connect to it opened the doors for us. It told us what was happening everywhere. Otherwise, we were very limited in terms of information in those years, because there was no cable TV, there was hardly any TV for that matter. TV in Chandigarh, if I remember correctly, came in properly in 1984 when the Kasoli tower was opened. So yeah, life is
with those huge antennas, I remember.
Radio was a window to the world, so to say.
And any favorite numbers which you would wait for repeatedly, look forward to, that Tuesday show? I mean, what was it that really captivated you?
I don't know, you picked that up randomly, but Tuesdays there used to be my favorite show on BBC called Jolly Good Show by a guy called Dave Lee Travis. And it was, I think, at 8 o'clock in the evening, and I would tune in every Tuesday. And I was so thrilled that, I wrote about 10 letters to him at that time. Finally, one was featured in 1985.
Wow.
So that was my high point of, being on radio, the world heard my name kind of thing. So, exciting days.
Yeah, I used to listen to the Khel Samachar at 7 p.m. or something. All India Radio was our friend, and sports being a thing. And I remember Gavaskar made a 135 at Guyana when he was pretty much senior now, 30 something, and 6 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up to listen to that news, because either I couldn't have heard the commentary all night or whatever it was, not allowed. I was in school, and I get up and 6 to listen to the news, and the guy says, Sunil Gavaskar ne 135 not out banaye. Such a thrill. I mean, that's all you got, and that was the thrill. So radio was really fantastic. But Hardeep, sports now. I mean, we will speak more about music as well. Sports, what does it mean to you? And radio is one media. Then there could be TV, it could be reading about it, it could be playing, watching, whatever. What does sports mean to you?
Sports mean, I have not been a sportsman in my life. I just played a little bit of hockey, that's it. But I've been always followed sport, especially during the Doordarshan days. We would know who was playing what, we would know all the champions, French Open, Wimbledon, everything. Even you would remember in 1985, there was a German team that came called Bochum, and they had these matches here at the Johanna Nehru Stadium in Delhi. It was just a German club.
Right.
Again, following sports, we were more than happy to see Van Dendel playing, and Stefan Edberg, and we followed Andre Agassi's change into fluorescent clothing and all that, long hair. And that was totally unheard of, especially in sports of those times. And Imran Khan, with his colored t-shirt, big boys play at night when night started.
Packer.
Packer took them all away, and so that's it. So for me, sports has been a love. Especially, you would know all about the Olympics. You would know the Sebastian Coe and Florence Griffith Joyner, then Kersey and Edwin Moses, Carl Lewis. All biggest possible names that you can ever think of. So love for sports has always been.
This generation, Chatty, our growth was pretty much inspired by sports persons, and whatever little, as Hardeep was saying, we could watch, that was iconic. Today we have too much of everything. But just to go back, what are your favorite moments from sports? We are connected now on glorious cricket, and we follow it so passionately. Sports, any sport. So tennis, football, what are your memories as a child, as a boy?
Memories are, one is Diego Maradona winning the 1986 World Cup.
Wow.
That was huge. John McEnroe playing tennis, Wimbledon, 1984. Boris Becker, 1985. So these are huge memories that are there imprinted. That refuse to fade out. And so much so that John McEnroe is now on this Amazon as the narrator. On this Netflix show. Never Have I Ever.
Okay.
And I make it a point that as soon as the season drops, I have to watch all 10 episodes because John McEnroe is the narrator.
Wow.
Though it's a fantastic show, nothing to take away from that, but because John is there. So, some of these guys were iconic. I was not such a great cricket fan, but cricket, yes, great memories. 1985, the World Championship of Cricket. So that was fantastic thing to, and it was in great weather in India. It was early March. So, it was perfect to watch. You could watch it in half-sleeve shirts and not sweaters and cold and not wake up very early in the morning because these were all day-night games.
There was some respectability attached to sports which was not so with movies when our parents were concerned.
Yes.
Like if I woke up at 5 to watch these World Series cricket matches or, one-day matches from Australia, it was okay. I mean, 5:30 we're watching TV or listening to the commentary also earlier days. But obviously to watch a movie late at night would be, go to sleep or something. So I think sports is something which is acceptable, but we also got our share of fashion from sports. We could see Sabatini and Graf and we could watch Olympics, which was very, fantastic in many ways. So I think sports has been a part of our lives that way. Radio, TV, we've talked about. Now come to movies, films. So if we talk of music, sports, entertainment in films, and we spoke of books briefly, we will. These have all impacted our lives growing up, and these good vibes which you're talking about, the great vibes were coming from there. So then films, Hardeep, what was your taste in films and what did you as a boy love? Or even now?
Even now, in those days, we had these musicals coming in from Hollywood. We had Saturday Night Fever, then there was Staying Alive that came as a separate movie, then the Rocky movies, Dirty Dancing, Footloose, Grease. These movies, they had such amazing sound, Top Gun for that matter, the original one.
What music?
Not much music as far as the new one was concerned, but the original, the first one, that had amazing music. So we grew up on that, and since I come from the army background, so we used to have these 2 movies every week. So Tuesdays used to be an English movie and a Friday used to be a Hindi movie. So we were supposed to watch them and it was good fun. And we grew up on a steady diet of both Hindi and English movies. My tilt would be a little bit more towards English movies as compared to Hindi movies.
Yeah, that's why you're so stylish. That's why it became like that.
He's the Tom Cruise of Chennai.
He's the Tom Cruise of Chennai. And Jerry, this, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, the signature tune. And now you see the Polish opera playing it. Oh my God, it is phenomenal. And the soprano and those ladies who are making those wah, wah, wah. I'm trying to imitate. But it's so iconic. So iconic movies for you, which you loved, or moments which made you go like...
So there were these 2-3 Hindi movies that I can never stop talking about. One is Chashme Badur. Farooq Sheikh. The other one is Ravi Baswani and Jaane Bhi To Yaaro.
Jaane Bhi To Yaaro, exactly.
So they were iconic. Katha. Again, Farooq Sheikh and Nasiruddin Shah. Brilliant movies. Sai Pranjpe was behind most of them. So those were iconic in terms of Hindi. In English, there was this Kiran Cinema. You'd get a show, or every Sunday you'd get an English movie show at Jagat or at...
in Chandigarh we have these,
So, and you would get movies. So I clearly remember Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Then there was Star Wars that came. Then a lot of movies that we started watching on video, Flashdance and Cocktail and all these great movies that came in the mid-80s, Back to the Future of course. So they were fantastic movies that were coming there and iconic and imprinted. But the first movie I ever saw, I still remember, was in Neelam Cinema in 1973 or 74, Khel Khel Mein, Rishi Kapoor, Neetu Singh. That was the first movie I ever saw on a cinema.
Wow. And we used to watch so much of Chitrahar and movies, that's what the entertainment was. But Hardeep, times changing so much these days with digital content And we started from the LPs and the tape, and that we used to be turning the tape around to get it to work and stuff like that. And usko, I think we also had a tape joiner or something. We used to use. Glue it up.
Yeah.
And then discs, and they've also gone, and pen drives have also gone. So this evolution vis-a-vis the quality of content which is there now.
Yeah.
The iconic movies, the great actors, the stories, and now we have this digital quality, technology friendly, booming sounds, great fight scenes. But what about the story, the acting, the production? What is your impression as an aficionado?
You see that we evolved over the years, we moved along with technology. Earlier, if you had to show a battle scene, I was talking the other day with Mr. JP Datta, he said, had I made border now, I would have made, the scale would have been at least 50 times bigger.
Absolutely.
Because now digital, everything is possible. I mean, if you want to show 4,000 people, so they can show 4,000. Earlier, they would have to have 4,000 men standing in uniform right there in front of the camera.
Right.
Now they can recreate with different faces and stuff. But again, I personally feel the earlier way of filmmaking was even better, where they had to create sets for Ben-Hur for that chariot scene. I don't know, they took nearly a month to shoot one particular scene. That is actually called filmmaking, So this is what I call the T20 of filmmaking. And, do it fast. It's just getting a burger from McDonald's. If you want a good meal, you have to pay for it and sit in a fancy restaurant. So you got to wait. So the best things come with time.
In case you don't know, his dad was the subject of Border, the movie, and the Battle of Longewala, and Sunny Deol played the role of Brigadier Chandpuri, Hardeep's father. Chitranjan, what is your impression of content? I mean, today everything is so fast, technology is so seamless, everything is on demand. I mean, we were waiting for Tuesday or Friday for that show. Today our kids can not only order burgers and pizzas and stuff, but they can also order content and just buy it or watch it, and it is quality content and quality in terms of technology. But what is your view of films? Are they as inspirational? Do you go to the movie theater to watch anything now? What is your take on evolution of entertainment?
So it's this generation. This generation is I want what I want when I want it, right? The problem here is that there is an information overflow, and these kids and this generation is not able to sift through it and see that what is right and what is not to be consumed in sense of information and entertainment both. Therefore, there is this huge move towards not being able to sift and put it in the right bucket in that sense as to what I should be accepting and watching or listening or learning or reading versus what I should not be. So they are not able to draw the line, and I think that's become very, very important in terms of technology and entertainment. As far as my going to the movies, maybe 2 times a year. Earlier it used to be like at least 3 times a month. Now it's 2 times a year because the quality content, as Hardeep also rightly said, is missing.
Yeah, we don't see normal conversations like this. People are suddenly popping out of the ceiling, and suddenly a car will come here, and you vanish or you grow long ears. I mean, where are the normal scenes gone, Hardeep? The normalcy kahan gayi hai life mein?
वो सर खत्म होगी ना with the passage of time, and we've technology has been running faster than we could ever chase it. So today, we always thought there would be nothing better than a Walkman ever come. We'd pop in a tape, put it on a belt, and have the
what a feeling going for a walk.
Yeah, going for a walk. Having a Sony Walkman used to be
ultimate.
As big as having a BMW in today's time. So that was the thing that you could ever have. So we changed with the times, but I think we've changed a little faster than we should have.
We need to value change. So Chitranjan, about new initiatives, since we've been involved with Playwright and all 3 of us are founders. So I think that's given us a lot of, I wouldn't say satisfaction, but a lot of excitement in terms of content we have created for sports lovers. Highlighting stories, particularly maybe young ladies who are on the cusp of greatness. So talk about Playwright for a while.
So Playwright, as you and I set it up on a cold December evening in 2017, I think having coffee it was the idea was to bring, like you rightly said, stories to the front, stories that are untold, stories about people who have achieved greatness in spite great odds in the sport that they are on, just because it's not popular. So I remember this story about Frisbee Ultimate Disc, right?
Frisbee, yeah.
We had them about 3 years ago. I mean, you see it as a good pastime, but I mean, how many people know it's a professional sport with probably one day an Olympic gold being given away in that?
Yeah.
Right? Or talking about India's skiers, or talking about Indian women rugby players. So these are stories that people, especially of this region, you know, where 99% people are obsessed with cricket, which unfortunately is not my favorite sport. So therefore, bringing these stories meant a lot to me, because we were able to, even for those 10 people or 20 people paying attention to those stories, we did something different. And of course, the crown, the feather in the crown was when Hardeep was able to manage Alexei Grewal, Olympic gold medalist, and speaking to us. Those were fantastic things, you know. Iceland cricket, I mean, who can think you can play cricket in Iceland? So we've been able to, playwright has been able to achieve those things, and you know, we wish that, you know, this rolls forward and we are able to bring these little stories to the fore.
No, I totally agree. Cricket needs to be downsized and other games need to be propelled. I mean, I am a cricket lover, no doubt.
I would say downsized, Vivek, but I would say the other game share should rise.
Should rise.
Continue to grow.
Cricket needs to be okay, agreed, but needs to be squeezed in terms of the number of games being played by players, the amount we're watching. There's too much of fatigue for the spectators as well. So something needs to be reduced, you know, in that. It's too much of a good thing, I would say. But we did have, guys, cricket, Gower, Botham, Chappell, Vengsarkar, Glenn Turner, Gundappa Vishwanath actually visited Chandigarh. So playwright cannot be taken lightly. Bishan Bedi as well, absolutely. So Hardeep, the new initiative, the novel initiative, which is linked to this because we're talking about stories, conversations, books, Novel Bunch. Talk about that.
So Novel Bunch is it's a small initiative that we've taken, me and Sadhana, and you are an equal part of that. So it's basically on the concept of the human library, where we invite people to come and talk about themselves. And we've created various platforms where we give them a chance to say it. Recently, we did an event called Unspoken.
Unspoken.
And all the people who were on stage, so we had 5 sessions of 4 people each. So out of them, I guess there were at least 18 people who had never been given a chance to sit on stage and talk.
Right.
And the way they talked, I mean, we had people with tears in their eyes, there were people who were laughing also in certain sessions, and so that's basically that. Earlier we did an event called Incredible at Infosys, all thanks to you, and that was also a huge success. So we intend to do 2 literature events called Inspire that we've been doing for the last 4 years. And the Dharamshala Lit Fest was also very big. So Novel Bunch, I call it's a bunch of novel people, you know, and who do novel things. So that's basically what the idea is.
Yeah, but great ideas, Hardeep. How do you think of all these names and these designs? And you are someone who launches things, you know. And of course, it's a thing to sustain them. Yeah. But you do come up with novel ideas.
What I normally say is that I can create. So we need a chatty to sell. So what I can do is I can create a product onto the table, and that's it, you know. So I'm not a seller, I'm a creator. So he's the big.
He's also a creator.
Yeah,
playwright came up through his idea in our conversation, no doubt. And then, you know, this being a quizmaster as well. So, you know, we guys are probably doing our bit to add these good vibes to the city. I think one of the first interactions I had with Chatty was, I appeared for Mastermind, the competition, and there was a written test, and he was the guy in charge of Mastermind India for Chandigarh, and I didn't qualify, though I did my best. But that was the first time we probably talked a bit. So,
2000,
but tell me, Chatty, quizzing, your take, and why is there not enough of it now?
Vivek, you've touched a very raw nerve, you know, by bringing this up. Quizzing. When we were growing up, quizzing was the thing to do, you know. There were such great quizzers in Chandigarh, Mukmeet Bhatia, Vaibhav Nangia, Raghu, I'm forgetting his name, he topped the IIT entrance examination, but he was a great quizzer. There was Brishdeep Singh, there were Pulkit Diwan, they won the Bone Meter Asia Quiz Championship, you know. These kind of talent we had in Chandigarh, and this was going on fine till 2003, 2002, and then it's just disappeared from at least Chandigarh. You go to Pune, you go to Bangalore, you go to Bombay, Hyderabad.
So much quizzing
Kolkata.
is happening.
Quizzing is their life and blood. They subsist on that. Every college has a quiz club. They are quizzing every day, every weekend. Varun Raina, another guy I forgot his name. Varun did try and found a quiz club in Chandigarh, but there were no takers.
We're going to do one soon. You remember we did the IT quiz and you were the quiz master there?
Yes, we did it for 3 years. Yes,
and I
for
remember
grades.
I won a round later, some celebrity quiz or whatever it was.
Yes, you won one at the CII, which was the last.
तो कैसे जीत गया?
You were
So,
a celebrity,
हाँ नहीं Robert Chatty was the quiz master. So I think in a nutshell, I think from this conversation what I can gather is that all of us have been inspired by these not so unique, rare activities, but activities which brought zest and zing into our lives. Otherwise, without these books, movies, radio, commentary, sports, quizzing, I mean, humdrum lives are going on. Chartered accountant ho gaya, publishing ho gayi. Publishing is also a little more creative than chartered accountancy.
Yes. Nothing is more boring than being an accountant.
I mean, 6.3 means 6.3. You can't make it 6.4. And then, administration, मतलब चलता रहता है. So basically, now we feel inspired as a set of friends by all these iconic things that we were lucky enough to indulge in. And that's why we're talking about them. They give us great vibes and they give us great togetherness. And we look forward to the next interaction talking about because when you talk of John McEnroe or Steffi Graf or someone who influenced you, then you have to talk to someone who understands and appreciates it. You cannot be talking to someone who okay, so what, and I'm not taking a dig at the millennials. It's just basically some people never had that interest. So anyway, great to have had you on the show, and I believe some dessert is awaiting us, Hardeep, after this. So I'm sorry, guys, we can't share it with you. So, but great to have had this conversation and talked about all these fun things. Thank you very much. Thank you as well. Thank you, and we'll meet again for another episode of the Good Vibe Show. See you soon again.